Oh, thank you so much. That was just beautiful. We are grateful to have with us today Elder Gideon. And forgive me, please, Elder Gideon, for any things I mispronounce in this introduction. Elder Gideon has walked with the Dow Malachi and the Fellowship since 1996. The teachings and practice of Christian Kabbalah have oriented every aspect of his life, career, and creativity. He edited Dow Malachi's Gnostic Path of St. Thomas for Llewellyn Publishers, forthcoming this fall. Twice nominated for the 2023 Pushcart Prize, his third poetry collection, Sophia's Wisdom, with EPS Press, launches later this year. His sculpture show, Black Mirrors, will open in Sacramento early next year. He teaches high school creative writing, mythology, and African American literature. He lives to connect. Feel free to reach out. And today we will explore with him the mystical legends between the lines of a pivotal story in Genesis, Jacob wrestling with the angel. The message of this struggle is familiar to anyone in a transition in life. Accusations from the past of lack or anxiety all personify the shadow with which Jacob wrestles and ultimately pins to the earth. What he most feared was an angel in disguise who blessed and renamed him Israel. We will explore mystical meanings of Israel and the promise that in our own wrestling with God, we will prevail. Please join me in welcoming Elder Gideon.
Blessings to all of you, and thank you for welcoming me this time again to all of you. I'm very touched by intentional communities such as yours who gather in the simplicity of kindness and support. I have great faith in groups that are small, faith in the goodness of being human together. The mystery of Jacob requires first that we find within our own experience times that were not so easy, times that challenged us profoundly, times that we weren't sure how it was going to work out. When you hear this, you can reflect on this for a moment. I'm going to invite you more than once in this talk to gather yourself inside, into your heart space. And if you would just breathe into this heart space and breathe from this heart space, their inwardness is our guide. Their inwardness is our solace. And from within their inwardness, we prevail against anything that appears to be outside. Jacob was very afraid. For some 20 years, he had to flee his family by the counsel of his mother, Rebekah. She put him up to swiping the blessing of the firstborn from his father, Isaac. Isaac favored Esau, the twin brother of Jacob. The legends in Judaism, between the lines of what is written in Genesis, are very powerful and illustrative of more nuance all implied by what is in Tanakh, this Jewish Bible. When Jacob and Esau were twins in the womb of Rivkah, they were wrestling already. They were in conflict already. Esau represents evil. Jacob, everything good. And the wrestling between Esau and Jacob tormented Rivkah. Her pregnancy was very painful, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. The legends say that she experienced terrible visions and beautiful visions, much like the apocalypse that John recorded in the New Testament. Visions of creation, new creation, and destruction, of great peace and holiness and violence. All this Rebekah held in her womb. As the twins were wrestling, we learn in one legend that Esau threatened to take Rivkah's life with him in his birth. And so Jacob relented, says the story, and let Esau be born first. But not without holding Esau by the heel as he left Rivkah's body. Strange stories like this hold very deep secrets of what is inside our own heart. We are people of light, made in the image and likeness of Yahweh Elohim, and who we are as we are in ourselves needs to be reconciled and aligned with who we are as we are in God's self. And all of us have this inner work to do, aligning with what already is all the while, Yahweh Elohim. And so Jacob's struggle, swiping that blessing disguised as Esau, terrified him. Isaac blessed him. Jacob is now the heir of the whole family and the revelation. And this infuriated Esau such that Jacob had to run. And Rivkah, Jacob's mother, said, "You will go to my brother Laban. You will live with him." And that's where we know Jacob meets Rachel, Leah, and his whole destiny changes yet again. And Jacob not only must master all of that fear of Esau, but now he must live with and work with the most feared sorcerer of the generation and land, a rather wicked person as well. Laban was not holy. Laban was not kind. Laban was quite cruel, manipulative, and frightening. So Jacob has these cycles of fear as any of us must master. And how does one master this? Well, we just pause for this moment and we take another deep breath into our heart space. Slowly breathe out from the heart space. Jacob knows the last night before he's going to see Esau, that Esau has in mind a massacre of everything Jacob is and possesses. Jacob is terrified, and he must wrestle, he must confront, he must seal this one remaining gap in his heart and in his mind. And it is this fear of his brother Esau. And so we learn in Genesis 32 that a man shows up in the night. And with this man, Jacob wrestles throughout the night, and it is harsh. It is violent. Jacob is at the point of death in this wrestling. He is exerting everything he is and has in himself, in his faith in Yahweh, to wrestle. And as the night turns, he's injured, we know, painfully so. And yet, through that pain, in that surrender to God's self within himself, he comes to pin this demon to the earth. And the day is beginning to break. And this demon, let me go. I will not, says Jacob, not until you bless me. What is your name? Jacob. You will no longer be called Jacob, but Israel. For you have striven with divine and human beings and prevailed. And then the demon disappears. And Jacob, in this daybreak awakening to an integration of everything inside of him and outside. The name Israel is an enlightenment name. Israel is a name of breakthrough. Israel is a name of integration of everything that feels separate within us, brought into the unity within behind it. Israel is strength to prevail in all circumstances. Israel means there is no opponent. Israel invites us to resolve any challenges, any opponents who are outside by going first inside. That's where the work is. If I misunderstand an outside opponent, I will never prevail, because the root of this is inside of me and my relationship with it. Feel that heart space again as you breathe in, my friends. And breathe out from that heart space. That same day, limping, Israel stood upon his feet and named the place of this conflict, Face of God. For I have seen God face to face and endured. How very mysterious, everybody. Very mysterious. How the good and the evil are somehow necessary to actualize and realize what is beyond the two. Jacob is foreshadowing other events to come. And in our lineage with Tal Malachi, we will see Jacob reincarnating as Jesus, as Yeshua, to take this to the next level in full redemption. Jacob is limping, Israel is limping, moving forward with his family to meet Esau. He sets his concubines and their children front, Leah and her children behind them, and last, Rachel, her children with Jacob. And we learn in that procession of the family and the clan that Jacob bows 7 times towards Esau. A very potent image. 7 in Hebrew is completion, is perfection. And so he's sealing the whole movement from the night before into this day by prostrating 7 times. And what do we find? Esau sees Jacob and runs to him and falls upon his neck and weeps as Jacob on his neck weeps. Is it possible that the day could have been very dreadful and terrible had not Jacob mastered this fear with the help of the One and been renamed Israel? It certainly seems so. Everything was headed that way. And because Jacob did the work inside beforehand, he was prepared for everything outside. And this is the message that I'm taking away from this story again and again as we face difficult and challenging circumstances, even violence. How shall we prevail? I don't know any other way other than what Jesus, Yeshua, taught with regard to nonviolence. We turn the other cheek. We do not fight back. We do not take up arms. That is not in the gospel. The gospel is nonviolent. This is how great leaders in the 20th century, such as Gandhi, Dr. King, Chavez, Malala Yousafzai, Nelson Mandela, all these mastered their opponents by the work inside. This is where our freedom is. This is where our hope is. Inside. And any wrestling that is not fulfilled or complete on the inside, Tal Malachi is teaching us often, falls outside into violence. So when we see violence around us, when we see turmoil and conflict, it's because the wrestling inside was lost. You hear that? A fight outside is a fight already lost inside. Take another breath into the heart with me. The victory, the prevailing, the enlightenment that integrates all opposites is inside. And the world's going to do what it's going to do. But if the inside is right, then it all is what it is. If you're feeling this, observing any textures in this moment inside your mind and heart, then we'll shift into a practice, a very powerful practice called giving and receiving. And this practice perfectly helps us with any fragments, regrets, pain, trauma, harm that we've experienced or that we've caused others, or perhaps a circumstance, a situation we witnessed or experienced that was very painful or difficult. This practice of giving and receiving does the work of the wrestling on the inside. And it's as simple as beginning with a very open and spacious heart breathing into this heart with me, and feeling here in the heart the intention or the visualization of a spiritual sun that shines behind us and in front of us, right and left of us, above and below us. We just establish a spiritual sun in our heart, and we breathe from this sun in our heart, and in this sun, a circuit of breath in the heart, the spiritual sun. Observe any warmth, any sensations that come. And let the light of this spiritual sun fill your whole body. Visualize, intend your entire silhouette shining with light. Breathe into this light. Breathe out this light. Established in this light, feel then a need in your life or in one you know, or a situation that has challenged you, and either visualize this outside of you or hold the intention of this aspect of yourself, perhaps feeling wounded, sooty, in great pain, this aspect of yourself, this other for whom you're going to give and receive, or a situation, just experience this need, yours and others, outside of you, and begin to breathe something of that pain of the other into the heart of the spiritual sun. And in exchange, breathe out light to this in need of the spiritual sun. So we're just going to breathe, pulling a little bit more in from this pain outside into the heart, and breathing out light in exchange. And we will just gently do this for a minute or two, giving and receiving, breathing in pain, breathing out light. This of you or another outside is no longer wounded or sooty or in pain, but is beginning to shine with the same light with which you began the meditation. And the conclusion, there is no longer a difference between light inside and light outside, but all is light that we breathe in and out. Giving in light, receiving in light. And let us dedicate the merit of giving and receiving for all in need of healing this very day. Healing of the body, healing of their mind, healing of their soul. Let us dedicate this merit to all in need of safety, justice, and freedom from fear and evil and oppression. That they are strong, that they have their true will. Let us extend this merit further to those coming to the end of something. A relationship, a life cycle, even life itself. So we pray that they are able to look through the end into what is to come with hope. And as we seal the extension of this merit, extending this to all who are here and just don't remember why, who are aimlessly wandering in their lives, who don't feel any purpose, who feel no faith whatsoever, who need some signs, who need some affirmation that they are not alone and that their life and this opportunity is from the one, that they turn in faith, that they awaken from their sleep. As we give all thanks to the Holy One of Being, for our faith ancestors, whose light and merit are with us today, showing us the path of Israel. My love to you all.